This past weekend, NASCAR crowned their champions in the Craftsman Truck, Xfinity, and Cup Series, and we're going to be going over some of the notable events from the weekend, from Carson Hocevar versus Corey Heim, and also the battle between Ross Chastain and Ryan Blaney. But before we get into that, let's hear a word from our presenting sponsor. So before we get started on this week's episode, let me tell you about our presenting sponsor, Hunt to Harvest. If you are looking to update or upgrade your hunting apparel, then hunttoharvest.com is where you need to go. Their new fall collection is out now, where they have several new shirt designs for both short sleeve and long sleeves, as well as new rope hats in stock. They also still have a great selection of shirts from their spring collection, which is now on sale, and that mystery box special is still going on as well, where you can get 3 designs sent to you for just $33, and for $11 a shirt and the high quality product that Hunt to Harvest puts out, you're not going to find a better deal anywhere else. So head on over to hunttoharvest.com by clicking on the link in the description below, and when you check out, be sure to use that promo code RADNEY18923 at checkout for even more savings. That's RADNEY 18923 at hunttoharvest.com. And starting things off, we want to talk about what was probably the most noteworthy event from championship weekend, and that was from Friday night's Truck Series race, where late in the going, you had Carson Hocevar leading the way of the championship 4 drivers. However, Corey Heim, who had the strongest truck of the championship 4, gaining on him fast. Corey was able to get around Hocevar, but then going into turns 1 and 2, Hocevar got out of shape, sending Corey Heim spinning and into the wall and Stewart Friesen. Heim was not happy, and rightfully so. Meanwhile, Hocevar, he showed immediate remorse for what happened, and looking at the contact itself, it seems both drivers went into the corner too hard. Hocevar, who was underneath Heim, just slid up the track and made just enough contact with his truck to spin Heim out. I do not believe that the contact was intentional. If anything, Hocevar is guilty of is for going into the corner too aggressive and not being able to hang on to his truck. Now, Hocevar said in his interview after getting out of the infield care center that with his reputation, he does not get the benefit of the doubt, and deservedly so. He knows he messed up, especially, I'm sure, coming off a week ago at the Cup race at Martinsville, where he wrecked Ty Gibbs intentionally. With that being said, what Heim did with just a few laps left in the race, I believe is worse than what was done to him and is also inexcusable. With just 4 laps to go in the race, you had Grant Enfinger leading the way for the Championship 4 drivers on his way to his first career championship, with Ben Rhodes following closely behind him. Then Corey Heim got his payback. He doored Carson Hocevar going down the back straightaway, leading to 4 overtime attempts and Ben Rhodes securing his second career truck championship. After what had happened to him, Heim had the chance to come out of this race as the face of the Truck Series going into 2024 and a fan favorite for the championship. Because no matter what, intentional or not, Carson Hocevar was going to be the villain in this situation. Instead, with this move, what it led to, and his attitude after the race, which you can see in this interview from Alan Cavanna on Twitter.
It seemed deliberate. People are going to look at it and think that was a deliberate move to put him in the wall.
Well, the only person who really knows is me, so that's all that really matters.
Heim has now lost that support and will probably have to go into next season trying to regain that trust and respect in the garage. That attitude and that response in that interview is something that can change everyone's view of you. I understand Heim being angry and wanting to send a message and end that guy's championship hopes, because yours were. But this race is bigger than Corey Heim or Carson Hocevar. 4 laps to go in a championship race is not the time to settle scores. If you want to settle scores, meet him on pit road after the race or back in the garage. Now, Carson Hocevar is off to the Cup Series, while Corey Heim has to stay in the Truck Series and deal with the ramifications of what happened on Friday night. And on the opposite side of that, you had the Xfinity Series on Saturday, where Cole Custer got his first career championship, and what was a showcase of how a championship race is and should be, and how drivers should race each other. And honestly, of the 4 championship drivers, I had Cole as the least likely of them to get the championship. However, Cole went out there, drove a terrific race, and showed great poise under pressure in that final restart. Now moving to Sunday, where Ryan Blaney got his first career Cup Series championship, bookending what was a strong final 6 races for this team. In these final 6 races, he got 2 wins, and his lowest finish was 12th. He played the playoff system to perfection. He did just enough to keep advancing through the rounds until they got to their stronger tracks like Talladega and Martinsville. They stepped up to the challenge, and now Blaney and his team walk away as champions. And while he did get the championship trophy, he did not come away with the checkered flag or the race winning trophy, as Ross Chastain became the first non-playoff driver to win the championship race since 2013. But we did get to see quite a battle between Blaney and Chastain for the lead. With these cars being so aero-dependent, Chastain used that to his advantage, repeatedly blocking Ryan Blaney, Blaney getting aggravated by it, and eventually putting his bumper to Chastain and being able to get the lead briefly. However, Chastain got back out up front and cruised to the victory. And there was a lot of discussion for what was going on between these two drivers, from Ross Chastain racing a championship Ford driver the way he was, Blaney possibly pushing the envelope, putting himself at risk, ruining a shot at the championship with how he was racing Chastain, and of course, the radio chatter from Blaney and the comments made by both drivers afterwards. As for me, I don't have an issue with how Ross raced Blaney. Ross raced him hard, but also took care of him. You could see that Ross was keeping a distance between the two drivers when they were battling for the lead in the corners. And Ross even said in his interview after the race that he wasn't going to wreck Blaney. He was mindful of where he was, because at the end of the day, nobody wants to be the one to ruin one of these championship Ford drivers' race. Now, Ryan let it be known in his media session after the race that he was not happy with how Ross raced him and blocking him, but Ross and 31 other drivers out there still have something to race for, whether it's for the win, a chance to build momentum for 2024, or a chance to end off a disappointing season strong. It's gotten to be where there's this mentality that whoever the championship Ford drivers are, that the other drivers on the track should get out of their way and concede their spots and their race, and it shouldn't be that way. I feel with what Ross Chastain did on Sunday, with the way he raced Ryan Blaney, it breathed life into this race. So often we see the championship Ford drivers dominate the day, and the other drivers are left to just be footnotes for the race, when in reality, this race is no different than the 35 that came before it. Yes, race the final 4 drivers respectfully, but also don't roll over and become irrelevant. And with this win and the way he raced, did we see some growth in Ross Chastain? Has he figured out how to be selectively aggressive? If he has, then Ross Chastain and this one team could be tough competition for the other teams in 2024. And that'll wrap up this episode of 3 Wide as well as Season 2. So I want to thank y'all for joining me and watching along throughout the year. And now, even though it is the off season, you can still hit that subscribe button so you will know when our new content drops, because it won't be long before we will be getting ready for the 2024 NASCAR season. I hope everyone has a wonderful holidays, and we will see y'all next time on 3 Wide.